So, a fresh new week has arrived, and here on this channel, that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend, I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you, the viewers, to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week, based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week, there were some massive performances by some of the best players in the league, some major upsets occurred, and a historic losing streak continued on, so we definitely have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now, so if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, I want to thank PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. PrizePicks is a skill-based, real money, daily fantasy sports game where you select 2 to 6 players and guess if they will hit more or less than their projection, and if you get it right, you can win up to 25 times your original entry. Obviously we're all basketball fans here, but PrizePicks has almost every sport you can think of available to choose from and play. To add to the fun, they also offer frequent bonuses, discounts, and weekly promotions such as Taco Tuesday and Flex Friday, plus so many more specialty free spaces to watch for throughout the year, including one coming up on Christmas, so you don't want to miss those. I personally will be playing Nicholas Claxton to grab over 9.5 rebounds, Kobe White to score over 21.5 points, and the Kevin Durant Christmas free square that hits as long as he scores one single point on Christmas Day. To sign up, go down to the link in the description and use promo code REFERENCE when you sign up to get a deposit match bonus of up to $100. Once again, thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring the video. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from AC, and he says that the Minnesota Timberwolves are still not a team ready to make noise in the playoffs. The Wolves have been through a lot in the time that Karl-Anthony Towns has been in town, but this season it has all been looking like it's been falling into place for once. They're the league's #1 ranked defense, and they also have the best record in the West, so when I say that things are falling into place for them, that could honestly be described as a huge understatement. They've been killing it this year, there's no doubt about it. So when a take like this pops up, obviously it's going to come off as a bit hot, and maybe even overreactionary, but when it comes to teams that have yet to prove themselves in the postseason, the conversation does need to be had. To start with the things that they do have going for them that could easily dispel a take like this, obviously the phrase defense wins championships didn't come out of nowhere, and they are the top dogs on that end of the floor, with the favorite to win the Defensive Player of the Year award, Rudy Gobert, holding things down in the middle. Jaden McDaniels is an elite switchable defender in the front court as well. They're getting the most defensive effort out of Karl-Anthony Towns ever, and even Anthony Edwards hounds opposing ball handlers out there. My concern with the Wolves when the playoffs roll around comes on the offensive end though. In the playoffs, the teams that find the most success tend to be the teams that can still run a high-level offense when the game slows down, which is always done in the postseason. The Wolves are just the 17th ranked offense in the league this year overall, and when you look at how they produce in half-court settings, they rank 15th, which is basically as bang average as it gets. There are going to be a lot of games where they're relying on Anthony Edwards to take over games down the stretch, which I'm not saying that he can't do, because he had a great showing in the playoffs last year, but I worry about the support he'll get. The West is also so competitive right now, so despite being the 1 seed right now in the standings, the Wolves could still end up getting matched up with a contender in the first round if a team like the Lakers or the Suns end up in the play-in tournament, because that's where they are in the standings right now. The Wolves have a lot to be excited about for sure, but nothing is guaranteed. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Deji, and he says that Scoot Henderson could still make his way back into the Rookie of the Year race because he's been starting to ball out lately. In the age of social media, hyped-up prospects get less leeway to adjust to the NBA than ever, because people are so quick to judge and label guys as disappointments and busts if they don't produce like a star from day one. Obviously, there is a middle ground between that and ignoring all of the flaws that young players show, but one thing that will continue to be repeated on this channel every single year is that young guards historically always take longer to develop develop than any other position. Think of all of the rookies that came into the league and made an immediate impact, and nearly all of them were wings or big men. Now go through all of the guards that have blossomed into all-stars, and think back to what they looked like during their rookie seasons. Scoot Henderson has not been good at all this year. I'm not here to say otherwise. However, the discourse surrounding him and his play has been completely ridiculous by the general public. He hasn't even played 20 games in the NBA yet, and he's had to deal with injuries already. The most important thing for him and his development is to continue giving him the green light to work through the mistakes that he makes out there, because in the long run, the more experience he gets during a rebuilding season, the better. Going back to the original take, Henderson definitely has also started to put together some better showings lately, including his first 20-plus point game of the season. However, there's just no chance he'll be in the Rookie of the Year race in a season with players like Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren playing at the level that they're playing at. Many of you know I was very high on Henderson during the time of the draft, and I still am now, because my reasoning for such was not based on what these guys would do in their first few months of their rookie seasons. It was based on what I believe they can become throughout the course of their entire careers. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from TMoney, and he says that the Chicago Bulls are actually better without Zach Lavine. The Bulls' season looked to be going downhill quickly when they started off with a record of just 5 wins and 14 losses, and when Zach Lavine suffered an injury in their 19th game, the feeling was that it was the end of the line for them. Instead, the Bulls team has immediately turned their season around after that point, and are now playing some of the best basketball across the league. Since Lavine's injury, the Bulls have won 8 of their last 11 games, including wins over the Bucks, 76ers, Heat, and Lakers, and Kobe White has been able to take a leap to the point where he now looks like a star in the making. A few weeks ago, there were reports coming out saying that the Bulls didn't want to make any moves until they sorted out the Zach Lavine situation, and with how well the team is playing without him, I really don't see how they could bring him back. The issue with that, though, is that Lavine's value is likely shrinking by the day because it's not a very good look when your team immediately takes off without you. Lavine himself was also nowhere close to the top of his game when he was healthy, and while he is a former All-Star, he's nowhere close to the player that he was at that time, shooting the ball much less efficiently, scoring fewer points, combined with some poor effort on defense. Also, in the time without Lavine, the Bulls have ranked in the top 10 of the league defensively, so honestly, it kind of does seem as though the Bulls are better without him, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he is the first domino to fall in the trade market because of this. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.